breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on a glorious and well-deserved day off. How's it going? It's almost October, guys. Fall is almost here. The weather is cooling down. It is amazing. And this is the follow-on video. I did some uncomfortable truths of instructors, firearms instructors, and everybody wanted to know at that point, well, who do you go to, man? Like, who would you recommend? I was like, well, it's not just so much who I would recommend, but there are some things, right? I like to call them my instructor red flags. There are a list of things that if I spot them in your bio or in the reviews about you or stuff like that, it signals to me you probably don't need my money. But there are only like 4 things that if that instructor, if that comes up in a review or an eval or an AAR, that instructor, if it's one of those 4 things are there, it is going to be a good course because the work it takes to be those 4 is intense. And I'll finish this video off by giving you just a list of phenomenal instructors, and if they're not on the list I gave you, how to know if they're worth your time. So first off, man, every year, man, there are more and more and more instructors coming out of the woodwork that are just vying for your hard-earned dollar. That does not go as far as it used to. They're also vying for your ammunition, your training time, the budgeting you've done, your ability to go to the range. And while I've done this hard instructor truths video, the red flags one is kind of what I needed to do for you guys. So here are a dozen combination of red flags and then 4. So we've got 8 red flags and then we have 4 absolute green light means go instructor qualities that you should be looking for. Again, this is not singling out an instructor until I get to the recommended guys. Then I am absolutely singling out instructors because they're awesome and they deserve to be singled out. The goal with this is to help you recognize things that probably you shouldn't be paying your money to. Because I, after all, want you to be a better version of you than you've ever dreamed possible. And a good instructor will also want that. And I don't want to see you get bamboozled into spending, 2,000 rounds of ammo and like $800 of your hard-earned money for some tactical operator course and come home and realize everything you just learned was pretty much junk. So I'm going to help you suss that out before you pay them your money today. It is important to note, though, that some of the things that I will mention today are a function of some ranges. That means that there are some limitations that exist on some ranges that cannot be mitigated by the instructor. And if he wants to teach the course at said environment, he must abide by those rules. Sorry, guys. But it is usually very easy to figure out if that is the case. If you are going and nothing in any of the things talks about like the thing that he suddenly said you can't do at the class you're wanting to go to, odds are it's not a him thing, it's a range thing. So the first one is extreme liability focus. That is one of the #1 red flags for me when I see another instructor. Extreme liability focus. Now somebody's going to be like, how do you know that? There are range limitations. Again, this is where that one rears its head. But it is typically extreme liability focused is where we see things where there is very little to no dynamic movement, no complicated or dynamic drills. There is very little weapons manipulation and weapons handling, and there is almost exclusively no hot range. They don't allow those things because those things increase your liability as an instructor, right? If I have you run around with a hot firearm for the entire day because I am trusting you to be an adult, it does increase the liability on my course, right? And you will find instructors that feel like they cannot effectively manage that conglomerate of people, that they will not allow these things to happen. I don't agree with that, man. I think you're an adult. If you're one of my classes, you're hanging out with me and we're on the range, I am expecting you, while you may not be perfect, I am expecting you to at least have a very firm grasp on the 4 universal firearm safety rules, understand and follow very simple instructions, and to leave your firearm in the holster until we are getting ready to shoot something. But you will see some instructors are so liability focused that they can't even allow that to happen on the range. It is just the most mundane stuff you will see at like a very entry CCW course. The next one is the Fuddish instructor, man. The Fudd. Here's the thing. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the instructor that specializes in 1911s and steel and wood guns and iron sights. There is nothing wrong with that. However, the big difference is when they start disparaging modern advancements, like red dots on handguns or red dots on rifles. I have seen them do that as well. The advancements in ammunition, there is usually, I don't carry anything other than a 357 or a 45 ACP because 9 mils piddly. It's because you have very little to no grasp of how ballistics work. And your ability to learn. What the Fuddish instructors should signal to you is that they never evolved or advanced from when they were cool. And that's a problem. They will also tend to shun dynamic shooting drills because they came from the PPC or the bullseye area. They don't like weapon-mounted lights on handguns because they think it's a fad or that you don't need it. They also hate compensators on handguns or in rifles. They don't like suppressors. They don't like IR stuff. They don't agree with collapsible stocks. Like, you know him. You've seen this dude at the range, right? Like, he exists. But that is the Fuddish instructors, and I have yet to meet a Fudd instructor that is worth your time or money. And the other thing what they also do is they will focus on like just accuracy, which is good because accuracy is important, right? It's like half of the equation. The problem is, so is speed. And if they are having a hard time, if they are from the bullseye era, boom, mail a letter, have a smoke, boom, right? Everything is important situationally dependent. Sometimes speed is way more important than accuracy. If I'm standing at 3 yards and we're having a problem, it's probably better that I'm fast. But the guys that don't even talk about it because it's all just about that bullseye accuracy, Fudd instructors, man, they're not worth your money or your time. If you see that, run the other way. The next one is the range ninja. These are becoming less of a phenomenon now that we have kind of moved away and people are exposing them for what they are. But I refer to these instructors as all hat, no cattle, man. They are the guys like the Dust instructor, right? Detroit Urban Survival Training. They rely on flash and flare, and then they push their students into some like super weird half-cocked shooting experience that while it may be fun, it doesn't do anything. Like, you're never going to find yourself surrounded by like 8 ninjas that jumped out of the freaking woodworks all at one time with freaking machetes and like freaking nunchucks, and you're going to have to defend your honor. Like, that is not how the real world works. And if you have found yourself in that environment, you screwed up in like the selection of places to go area first. But you see these guys, man. These are the guys that come out and it's all about their, I've got this technique that I teach to operators, right? That is the stuff they're hung up on. They always, everything they do in the course, there is no fundamental work in the course. It is all 100 miles an hour all the time. And they never really care whether you grasp the information or not. They just want it to look cool because that is what sells. That is the all hat, no cattle instructor or the range ninja. If you see stuff like that in a review, walk the other way. They're not worth your time. The next one, and this is a very important one because I don't feel like it gets touched much, and that is the multi-minion expert. It is extremely prevalent in the bro vet instructor world, right? Like, I'm going to call out the vets for doing this crap. I hate it. I hate it when I see it. And it looks a lot like this. These are the guys that present themselves as an expert in every freaking thing, right? Oh, I could do a CQB class. We could do VCQB too, man. That's great. I could do maritime interdiction. That's no problem. Also, I'm a sniper instructor, man, so I can teach anybody anything about sniper rifles, ballistics. Oh, I'm an I-Corps rated shooter too. I can teach you all about revolvers and going fast with the revolver at the same time. Oh, yeah, carbines, no problem, bro, man. Like, I'm an expert in carbines. I can do anything in the world with carbines. Oh, yeah, I'm a distinguished master at IDPA. Not a problem. I'm a GM in like 6 divisions over here at USPSA, but I won't show you my practice score. And they're all somehow current on everything. You need taller boots if this is the instructor that you're talking to, because all of that is BS. Most really good instructors are gonna be very simple in like what we do, right? Like, I teach 4 things. That's it. Those are the 4 things I'm really good at it, man. If I need you to be able to shoot something really far away, I can teach you that. I can teach you some field craft to go along with it, how to build your weird shooting position so that you're more stable. I can teach you that. That's great, right? You want to learn how to fight with a handgun? I can teach you that. You want to learn how to fight with a rifle? I can teach you that too. You want to learn how to fight in a building? I can teach you that. Don't ask me to teach. I can do VCQB, but I ain't teaching that crap to you. I'm not teaching you any of this other stuff. I'm not going to go out and teach you how to run a revolver, even though I'm pretty proficient at it. It's not what I'm good at. And like, I am a big fan of, if you don't know, say you don't know. There is nothing wrong with admitting it. You don't have all the answers, man. And your multi-minion experts always seem to have the answer, even if it's the wrong one. They're just counting on you not like following through on it. The next one. This one kind of died a little bit in 2020, but I've seen it making its rounds again, and that is the extreme round count instructor, right? It's a 2-day class with a 2,000 round count. High round counts do not make it a good class. High round counts don't make the class good. They just don't. I can walk out to my range and mag dump 1,000 rounds into the berm and learn absolutely nothing but bad habits and that it was expensive. Shooting a lot is important because reps are important. But just shooting 2,000 rounds at your average 2-day class does not make that a automatic good class. If there's no substance to what we're doing and we're turning money into noise on the range, you're not learning anything. It's not worth your freaking time. I am always reluctant and apprehensive when I see an instructor put up their round counts and it is something ridiculous like 17 or 1,800 rounds in a 2-day course. 1,000 rounds in a 2-day course, no problem. That is 100% manageable. Even as high as 1,200 rounds in a 2-day course, I'm okay with that. 1,500 rounds-ish in a 3-day course, depending on what the course material is, I can even see that. But these guys that are 1,500, 2,000 rounds in 2 days, there's a reason you're shooting that much, and it's because you're not learning anything. You're just making noise. Like, I don't care how many rounds you shot if you didn't hit anything. Like that, like you just sucked a lot. And the thing is, anytime I see a course that has an extremely high round count, I am immediately suspect and apprehensive about giving that person money because there is a reason. Like, and I mean, here's the thing, Modern Samurai, right? One of the most respected courses you can go to, that's got like a 600 or 700 round count over 2 days. And it's probably one of the most instructive, intensive courses I've ever been to. You don't have, like if you're shooting 2,000 rounds in 2 days, it's because you're not learning stuff. Like people aren't explaining anything to you. All right, moving on. Number 6, the back in my day guy. I've talked about back in my day guy before, but I've seen more of these recently. Relevance matters, man. If you are not currently relevant in the sphere that you are attempting to teach, I don't care what you have to say. I used to be a whole lot cooler than I used to be too, but I haven't built a subserve surf site in like freaking 10 years, man. I'm not good at it anymore. It doesn't matter that I know how to do it. Dude, do you realize the last time I set up like a 6 layer like veg fan for me to shoot from behind? Like shooting through a loophole and like 6 different rows of veg. Do you know how long it's been since I've done that? I could probably still do it. But I don't need to be teaching anybody about it. I used to be a lot cooler than I was, and I hung out with guys that were a lot cooler than I was. But that is not the case anymore. And relying and holding on to that, desperately like trying to hold on to your youth when you hit that midlife area of the world, which by the way, I realized the other day, I am in my midlife. Apparently being a YouTuber was my midlife crisis. If you are not up to date and current in your craft, I don't give a crap how good you used to be. It just doesn't freaking matter, man. Like, and I mean, this is something we see a lot with the vet instructors, right? Like I don't know what you bring to the table if you're not still current. Bill Blowers is a guy that I heard him say, I will stop instructing when I realize that the situations and the way that it is done currently has progressed away from what I know how to do. He is fighting the battle to stay relevant. Excellent instructor, by the way. I don't care how good you used to be. I care about how good you are now. And if you're not current and valid on all the stuff that you want to teach me, shut up and don't teach me about it. Because I don't want your opinion. I want your actual like learn skill-based, experience-oriented skill. That's what I want. I don't want what you used to do. Next, number 7. Almost a Fudd, but not quite. This is the guy that's got like a technology allergy, right? This is the dude with the 20-year-old blue shot timer. It's like this freaking big, and he refuses to believe that any of the newer shot timers are worth their time. This is the guy that they will typically not like Glocks because they're polymer. I don't like polymer guns. They were the guys that don't want red dots because they're a fad. They are different from the Fudd in the fact that you will usually see them with weapon-mounted lights, although be it an antiquated weapon-mounted light, because they understand and see that that is a functional good thing. But they are not current or up-to-date on any of the stuff, which separates them from the Fudd because they know that things evolve. These are the guys that run 9mm, but they're running like a 9mm Beretta, right? Nothing wrong with Beretta, but that's what they swear by because it's a metal gun. They are usually just tech allergy kind of stuff, and they don't like plastic guns. Number 8, and this one is far more important than people realize, and that is ultra rigid as an instructor. If you cannot adapt the skills that you are planning to teach to different styles of learners and skill sets of shooters that are attending to your class, and they follow the lesson plan at all costs, like, oh, we got to move on because we got to move to the next part of my lesson plan. If you can't adapt what you're doing to fit the audience that is currently attending your course, you don't need to be teaching it, because that tells me that you're just repeating what you have and not instructing people, right? We see this a lot in the LE world for firearms instructors. We have guys that can run a line, which are the guys that can read off and recite from memory the firearms quals for rifle and handgun, right? They know all the round counts, the time standards, they know all that. They are the guys that they can shoot well enough to do that, and we can trust them to do that extremely well. Those are not instructors, right? I am an instructor. I am constantly evolving and changing the way I do things to bring that information out in a better and more efficient way to people around me. Rigid instructors are a no-fly zone, man. If you ever see anything in like a review that says, I wish he would have spent more time on this, but he said we needed to move on. Dude, if you didn't ask him 37 times for that and you weren't the guy that constantly couldn't figure out how to load your gun, that dude's a rigid instructor, right? Ask some more questions, because here's the thing. If they can't adapt their lesson plan to help you, it's probably not worth your money. And then 9, shot timer centric. That shot timer is it. Speed, baby. Right? I just told you about the guy that is only about bullseye. This is the opposite end of that spectrum. The one that believes the accuracy part of it doesn't exist. These are typically identified by the fact that they don't really care where you hit the target, because you hit the target. You see this a lot with steel, like full-size IPSC steel out there at 15 yards, and you're just running as hard as you can. As long as you made noise when you shot, they don't really care where the bullets hit on that. But here's the thing, I'm the first guy to tell you, is around here and around here as effective? No, they're not. They're not the same freaking thing. And because you were going fast with zero accountability, because the shot timer is the only thing that mattered in your world, you didn't actually teach your guys anything but some bad habits. The guys that preach speed above everything else, right? Like Modern Samurai preaches speed, but you got to be accurate too. Shot timers are a tool, but they are not the only tool that exists. If they can't demo something for you at like a slower speed so you see what's going on, that's a problem. That is speed-centric with zero other regard for anything else. I don't care how cool you are. I'm trying to learn this. Number 10, the show horse. Show horses are becoming more rare, but they still exist, and I have seen them recently. These are the guys that got the look. They got the operator beard, the perfectly formed bill, which no hate, man, because I am all about that perfectly curved hat bill. They've got the gator sunglasses because that was what was cool. They show up in cry pants, the biggest, baddest battle belt known to man, with their freaking helo lanyard clipped onto it, with their staccato XC with their 22 round mags all over this thing. They got a rifle mag on their side. They've got the biggest and baddest, like, they're wearing the Loa boots, that match their freaking this, and they've got their hoodie is from a school they went to 27 years ago. They got on a combat top with, their LV-119 or their FCPC V5. No hate if that's your plate carrier, but I'm just saying this guy shows up with all that on, and it's a concealed carry class. These are like an extension of the all hat, no cattle guy, but this guy can actually shoot. The problem is, it looks really good until you ask why. We're going to do this, and ding, 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 just drills it out. Like, all right, guys, you understand? All right, cool, everybody on the line. Operate! Right, they do something dumb and cringy like that in class. But then you ask them, why is it more important that I do this here versus this? Like, do I need to change that, or does this still work? And they're like, oh, no, you got to do it the way I said. Why? Because I said so. Show horses, man. They are still pretty prevalent, pretty common. And the minute you ask them a how or why question, it all falls apart, man. The wheels come off that train pretty quick. So now let's talk about some good instructors. Sorry if that was loud. Good instructors are rare, man. But they usually have some variation of the 4 hallmarks of a great instructor. One is extreme shot accountability. Fast is great. Accuracy's final, right? Wyatt Earp. I think it was Wyatt Earp. A great instructor will always place a premium on the fact that you hit the target fast and accurate. And not only that you hit the target where it mattered, fast and accurate. Because anytime we tell you it's okay to get a delta out here and we don't razz you for it and we don't hold that accountability, we are telling you that accuracy is not as important as the fact that you made the gun go bang and you struck the target itself. Extreme shot accountability. The most prevalent extreme shot accountability instructor on the market right now is Chuck Pressburg from Press Check Consulting. You're going to hear him mentioned again in just a moment. That dude created no-fail pistol and no-fail rifle. It is 100% a hardcore fundamentals-based program where we are talking about extreme ownership of your shots because you can't fail anymore. And that's the world you live in, whether you knew that or not. Nobody cares about your best intentions because you smoked a little Susie when you were trying to shoot the bad guy. Extreme shot accountability is a very important factor, and that is a hallmark of an excellent instructor. Good instructors specialize. I told you guys a minute ago, I teach CQB, I teach combat handgun, I teach combat carbine, and I teach precision long-range rifle, right? DMR stuff. How do you engage with a rifle? Nobody is good at everything, man. I go to a movement instructor to learn how to move more effectively, right? A kinesthetic instructor to learn how to be more effective at what I do to move around, right? If I want to learn to move, I go to a competition shooter. If I want to learn how to influence entry, exits into positions and how to shoot more accurately and faster. When can I get away with what? I go to a revolver instructor when I want to learn to run a wheel gun better. I will go to a GM when I want to learn how to shoot a competition better. I go to a gunfighter when I want to learn to gunfight. Good instructors specialize, right? Jedi may offer 3 or 4 other things. I have no idea, but you know what I do know he offers? How to do the red dot game better than anybody else. Because he specializes. Aaron Cowan teaches a whole bunch of stuff, but you want to know what his cream of the crop stuff is? Low light, man. That man does low light better than anybody else on the planet. He also drops a lot of red dots. That's also a thing. The next hallmark of a great instructor is adaptable. A good instructor can and will manipulate their lesson plans, their round counts, the drills that they're going to do, their timeline that they're going to do it in on the range to the needs of the people in the class. If you have 12 people in your class and 11 out of 12 guys in that class need you to slow down and do this part again, a good instructor will adapt that lesson plan to make sure those people get out of the course what he's trying to do. And somehow still make that dude that was ahead of them in skill feel good and learn more. Because they will decrease the accuracy zone that dude's going to shoot. Hey man, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to shoot that 1-inch square at the top. No more of this chest stuff, right? I want you pushing for that 1-inch square. So that dude is now going to be on an extreme accuracy kick with speed, and these people are going to get a chance to catch up to him because that instructor is adaptable and willing to change his round counts, drills, lesson plan, and timing to make the class a better class. 4 and final, they give all the shit. They give all the shits, man. All of them. All at one time. Like if there was a box of F's that I can't say because I get another freaking strike, there was a whole big bag of them, they give all of them all the time. Why? Because good instructors want more than anything else you to learn and to be successful at the curriculum that they're teaching you. I do not care if you leave a course with me and think I'm a cool guy. I don't care. I care that you left the course with me and you learned something and you can employ it and implement it immediately. That's what I care about. I care that you took away something I said and you went home and you drilled it because it stuck with you. That's what I care about. Right? I care that you understand what I'm putting out to you. I care that you understand why what I taught you was important. That is the hallmark of a great instructor, man. Great instructors care. And it's not about how they look. So let's talk about some instructors that will absolutely all the time, all the ways get my money. Number one is Sean Griffith. I have talked about Sean before. He has done a video with Jedi sometime in the past. Sean Griffith runs a company known as Griffith Shooting Solutions. He is blending competition dynamics with gunfighting, and it is awesome to see. Dude is a gunfighter, military, cop, and then now he is a GM and just wrecking shop in carry optics. So he is the man that showed me the Matrix, and it was awesome to watch it happen. But he's merging those competition dynamics with defensive shooting, and he's doing it at a reasonable round count. It is an excellent course curriculum. I highly recommend it to anybody. He's down in Georgia. Scott Jedlinski, but more to the point, Modern Samurai, because his other instructors are exceptional as well, right? The guys that taught ours here were from Arkansas. Now, that course is an exceptional course, right? They are the master of finding the dot and being efficient in movement from the draw. And that is awesome to see. And that is what they're really good at, right? And the modality thing, being able to sit in front of you and tell you, hey man, we're going to show you what an 80-20 speed looks like, and it should get us this time. And then they do it. And their 80-20 speed is based on the national standard. And then they'll tell you, okay, man, now I'm going to show you a 90-10 speed. And they're going to do it. And they're going to be like, that 90-10 speed is the class standard. And they're going to be like, all right, cool, I'm going to show you 95-5. And they're going to run balls out on fire. And they're going to be like, hey man, that's the black belt standard. Seeing an instructor demo all three things at one time is a fantastic environment. And I cannot recommend MSP enough. They're great. It's a great class. Aaron Cowan, the father of like not like low light, but like understanding light at like the most autistic level I've ever seen. He influences mine. He is also the red dot guru that can tell you if it's going to make it or not. He's a phenomenal shooter, fantastic low light instructor, fantastic use of force guy. Great dude. He's in the Southeast as well. But Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics. The next one is Kita Bussey. I mentioned something about going to a movement instructor if you wanted to learn how to move. If you want to know how to effectively and efficiently get yourself into a position to shoot, somebody like Kita Bussey is who you need. She is a movement expert. How we move matters. How do we get into position, out of position? When can we be shooting? When can we not? How do we minimize gun bounce? All that stuff is a movement instructor question. And while some instructors can teach you parts of it, a dedicated kinesthetic movement instructor is how you learn the finite parts of it, right? The smallest minutia. Kita Bussey is an awesome instructor. Next one, Chuck Pressburg. I mentioned him. You would also know him by another name, and that is Roland. If you've heard of the Roland Special, he is Roland of Roland fame. And by the way, it has a comp on the gun, not because it was going to defeat recoil, but because if you put a comp on it, it didn't get the lens of his X300 dirty. Fact. But that whole fad of putting a red dot on a Glock with a compensator, an X300, and a stippled frame and a magwell, that is the Roland Special. And Chuck Pressburg, the man who came up with that idea, he was AWG, Ranger Battalion, great dude all the way around, but he's the man that developed the no-fail rifle and pistol, and 100% extreme accountability is the name of the game there. It's awesome, and he pushes you to speeds that you don't think you can be that way. Fantastic dude, excellent instructor, worth your money every day. Chuck Haggard, the legendary lawman Chuck Haggard from Kansas, man. He is a use of force, less lethal, tactical anatomy guru. You want to know how and why it does what it does, or how to do things in a different way, he's probably your dude that's going to help you. Chuck Haggard is phenomenal. He also does firearms and courses, but he is the epitome of an excellent, fantastic instructor. And I highly recommend people check him out. The next one, JBS Training Group, Mark Smith, for when you need a Southern plumber to come out and school with you on all the stuff you didn't know you needed to know. He is a normal guy in pursuit of absolute, utter perfection. He understands his craft. He knows why it works. He knows why he does what he does. And more importantly, he can tell you all of those things with a smile, some Southern charms. He's an excellent instructor, fantastic speaker. Mark Smith, JBS Training Group, highly recommend him as well. The next one, DB Shooting Adventures, and to another side of that, American Fighting Revolver. That is the purpose of two people. DB being Daryl Bulkey, a man who's got more t-shirts from being there and doing that in California than anybody I've ever heard of. And Brian with a Y, Eastridge. Those two together make American Fighting Revolver. They're awesome, dude. You want to know how to run a wheel gun? They are wheel gun gurus, man. They know more about it than probably most will ever figure out, man. But excellent, guys. If you're wanting to learn to run a wheel gun or a deep concealment, excellent, guys. And then Bill Blowers, another one I said I'd bring up. He runs Tap Rack Tactical, SWAT cop out of the state of Washington. From dedicated shield classes to SWAT classes to SWAT rifle. If you're an LE guy and Bill Blowers and Tap Rat Tactical is not on your radar, you're wrong, and he needs to be. But that doesn't mean that's the end of the list, right? There are so many great instructors out there. Gunsight, Thunder Ranch, JJ Ricazza. There's just so many good instructors out there, but I promise you, if you go by like the 10 points I gave out in the beginning, you won't see that any of their stuff. And you will see more than one of the 4 hallmarks in what they do. That's it, man. That is how you find a good instructor worth your time and money. I really hope you found this informative. I hope it makes you get into a class, and I hope it gets you better than you were the day before. So, guys, I am Uncle Freedom. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And until next time, I'll see you later.